I moved into this building about 3 months ago. It's an old place. You know the type. Concrete walls, an elevator that groans like it's tired of existing. I live on the 6th floor. There are only 8 floors in the entire building. Remember that. It's important, because the first time it happened, I just figured I was exhausted. It was late. Almost midnight. I got into the elevator alone and pressed the button for my floor, 6. The doors rumbled shut. The old box started its slow ascent, and then it just stopped. I looked up at the little screen above the door, and the number had changed. It showed a 9. I just stared at it. There is no 9th floor. The doors didn't open. They stayed shut for a few long, silent seconds. Then the elevator shuddered and continued its journey up. When it finally stopped again, the screen showed 6. The doors opened onto my hallway like nothing had ever happened. I just laughed it off, chalked it up to faulty wiring. That was a big mistake. A few nights later, it happened again. Same ancient elevator. Same late hour. But this time, I was paying attention. I stepped inside, pressed 6. The doors closed. The elevator began to climb, passing the 4th floor, the 5th, and then it stopped. The screen above the door flickered. 9. This time, the lights inside the elevator dimmed, becoming weak and yellow. I felt my ears pop, like the air pressure had suddenly changed. The elevator stayed completely still for much longer this time. Then I heard it. Breathing. It wasn't my own. It was slow and deep, and it was coming from right behind me. I didn't turn around. I couldn't move. I was frozen in place. The doors stayed closed. The screen still showed that impossible number 9. Then, as suddenly as it started, the breathing stopped. The elevator lurched back into motion. When the doors finally opened on my floor, the 6th floor, I didn't walk out. I ran. I bolted down the hallway, fumbled with my keys, and slammed the door behind me. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I went down to see the building manager. He was this old guy who looked like he'd been part of the building since it was built. I tried to sound casual. When I mentioned the elevator stopping at a 9th floor, he stopped shuffling his papers and frowned. "There is no 9th floor," he said, his voice flat. "There never was." I told him about the elevator stopping, the lights dimming. He didn't laugh. His expression got serious. He looked me right in the eye and told me to avoid riding the elevator late at night. That scared me more than anything else he could have said. A week went by. Nothing happened. I started taking the stairs more often, but a few times I used the elevator during the day and it was perfectly normal. I almost convinced myself that I'd imagined the whole thing. Stress, lack of sleep, you know. Then, one night, I had to work late. I came home well after midnight. The stairwell was pitch black, the light was out. And the elevator, it was already there on the ground floor. The doors were wide open, like it was waiting. I should have taken the stairs, even in the dark. I really should have. But I was tired, and I just stepped inside. As soon as I was in, I noticed that none of the buttons were lit. Not a single one. Except for one. The button for the 9th floor. I hadn't pressed it. I hadn't touched anything. Before I could even react, the doors slid shut on their own. The elevator started moving up. I watched the numbers on the screen climb past my floor. 6, 7, 8, and then 9. The elevator stopped. And the doors opened. There was no hallway, no lights, just an absolute, consuming darkness. A cold wind blew out from it, smelling of dust and something else, something old and damp. I stood frozen, staring into the void. Then I heard voices. They were whispers. Dozens of them, maybe more, all tangled together. But I could make out what they were saying. Over and over again. "Don't go back." The elevator doors started to close. Panic finally hit me, and I slammed my hand between them, forcing them to reopen. And in that split second, I saw something move in the darkness. Something tall, and thin, and just wrong. The door slammed shut, and the elevator didn't just go down. It dropped. It felt like a free fall, my stomach lurching into my throat. When it finally slammed to a halt, the screen showed a 1. The doors opened to the lobby. It was bright. People were there, walking through, laughing, talking on their phones. It was as if nothing had happened at all. I quit my job 2 weeks later so I wouldn't have to come home late anymore. I moved out of that building as soon as my lease was up. But sometimes, even now, when I'm alone late at night, in my new, safe apartment, I swear I can hear it. The faint, distant chime of an elevator arriving. And in my mind, I can see a little screen lighting up with a single, impossible number, 9. Thanks for watching. If you like this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button.